All right, hey everybody, welcome back to the second episode of Before the Gun. Looks like we're going with that name now, and yeah, we're super excited to be here. Preview the PTO US Open as well as the other big races this weekend. We're obviously going to spend most of our time on the PTO race, and it's going to be a lot of fun, I reckon. My co-host Brent Detta is here. If you guys are tuning in for the first time, Brent is a good friend of mine, training partner, coach from pro to beginner, and yeah, he's been in the sport a lot longer than I have, and gives me a unique perspective. Brent, what do you think about this weekend coming up? And yeah, you ready?
I'm ready. It's going to be one of the most exciting weekends in a long time. It's got a great build-up and great field. Of course, we've lost a couple of people, but we really need to focus on the great race that we're going to have in both the men's and women's races.
Heck yeah. Well, I'll go through a bit of the housekeeping first. For those of you guys who don't know, the men's race is on Friday. Surprisingly, not too many Friday races. And then the women's on Saturday. Both kick off. Like the actual race starts at 4:15 local time, but you can tune into the broadcast at 4 o'clock. And that's local time. In Europe, if you guys are European listeners, the only way to watch it live is on Eurosport, Discovery Plus, or GCN Plus. And then for the rest of the world, we can watch it on the PTO Plus app or through the web browser that they have, or we can watch it on YouTube, which is, I'm guessing, where most of us will tune in. And yeah, if you hop onto the US Open website, the PTO's website, you can look and it gives you what that time start is in your location. So pretty handy. Plus all the other information about the race is there, which means we'll be going first through the race course to give you guys an idea of how the race will be going and playing out. First, starting with the swim. Brent, what do you notice?
Well, two-loop swim with an Aussie exit. You've got, I believe, a dive start off a pontoon, and it's the same course that the U.S. Nationals uses. Go under a bridge, around a buoy, and then back in. It should be pretty straightforward for the athletes, but it always has a kind of a cool visual when it's out there in the USAT, so it's going to be a fun course.
Yeah, I think it's perfect for some camera shots too, having a bridge. It's, you know, along the shore. In Ibiza, they struggled a little bit. I heard that they lost permission to use one of their drones, their main drone, to film the swim. So this one, we should get lots of angles and, you know, colored swim caps. And I know that's something they've been working on to help improve the swim footage. And yeah, the dive start should be interesting as well. And then onto the bike, they go through transition there and then out onto Lincoln Memorial Drive. What do you think?
Going to be flat and fast. I think it's going to be a pretty good course for the cyclists. We're assuming that they're using Race Ranger again, which is great for the back of the pack guys to get there. But they've got a weird little double U-turn at the far end of the course where they go out, they do a U-turn, then they go down a street and do a quick U-turn and come back, which is going to make things potentially a little weird, but it's going to be a drag strip, it looks like.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out for some of the stronger cyclists. I'm not sure, for example, Magnus might be able to utilize this course to his advantage as much, but you never know. And then onto the run. So yeah, we've got 5 laps here total. It's an 18 kilometer. If you guys don't remember the distances, the swim is 2 kilometers, the bike is 80 kilometers, and the run is 18, so totaling 100 kilometers. And yeah, the run is 5 laps, so lots of spectators.
It's super fun to see these guys girls on the looped courses like this, because you get to see them a lot, and it's impressive to see how fast they run. So it looks like it's going to be a kind of a park course, and hopefully it's nice and you know, visually stimulating for us on the video. But I think it's going to be a course that's got a lot of people around it and stuff, which is awesome, which is what we want. We want these guys to be racing and hard as they can. So
yeah,
in front of a lot of people.
Yeah, they're expecting 20,000 spectators apparently, because 7,000 I think will be racing different events at the USAT Age Group Nationals, which I will be as well on Saturday in between the two races. So I'll be able to let you guys know how that is. I think that's a great idea from the PTO to utilize events already there and yeah, just increase that viewership. And I mean, the run right along the Lake Michigan there, which is basically an ocean, and then as they run on the alongside the highway, the city scene should be pretty great. As you said, it should be a great spectacle. But that's it. That's the course. And yeah, we'll dive now into the start list. So like Brent said, we had a few people drop off.
We did. We unfortunately lost Martin Van Riel, which I think everybody was really looking forward to seeing him as a wild card. Alistair Brownlee is obviously not healthy, which is unfortunate. Sounds like we've lost Chelsea Sodaro as well. Kind of stinks. They did add some wild cards, which you could hear a collective expletive coming out of Tucson when you had Josh Amberger, Sam Appleton, and Matthew Marquardt, and then Matt Sharp, who are all front pack swimmers, added to the list. So that was a little tough to go with, but
yeah, and Lauren Brandon on the women's side.
Lauren Brandon on the women's side, which Taylor Knibb was going to kind of be out there on her own probably in that swim. So
I agree. Yeah, kind of a pity we lost those names, but it always kind of happens recently. You always lose a few. Yeah, I think Martin's the one that people wanted to watch the most, see how he could do. And apparently that was his A races for the year, especially coming back from injury. I think short course, I think he knew he'd always miss that top end speed this year. So that's a bummer for him.
Hopefully we see him in Singapore.
Yes. But yeah, we do have so many good names on there. We talked about it a little bit when the start list was first released. A little bit surprised, like Danielle Reef and Haug not racing, but we found out Daniela's racing 70.3 World Championships instead, and then Kona, so just focusing on that. I think that's probably a smart move, to be honest. A lot of these athletes are probably too many races in August. We're looking at you, Christian Blumenfeld, for sure. Yeah. But yeah, let's go through the women's to start with. Ashley Gentle, Paula Finley, Taylor Knibb, Tamara Jewett leading the way, would you say?
Yeah, it's going to be an incredible race. I think you got the bike power of Taylor Knibb, and I think we're going to find Paula Finley at a different level than she was in Dallas, because she's been training for cycling world championships time trial, plus undergoing some more heat protocol, which she really suffered in Dallas. And with Race Ranger, I think she's going to have potentially a better chance to get away. But you've got, Ash can ride, Holly Lawrence can ride, Kat Matthews can ride if she can be close. So it'll be really interesting if Tamara Jewett can stay somewhere within reason. I think she can run better than anybody on the list except maybe Ashley Gentle. But if she does something like Oceanside where she's within a minute, she becomes a very, very dangerous athlete in this field.
100%. I think the big thing everybody is waiting to see is how far Taylor gets ahead probably on the bike. We know she'll be coming out of the water first or second now, and yeah, can she do damage on that course? A lot of laps. The girls will be seeing often how far ahead she is. Apparently at the US Open last year, for example, Ashley Gentle got caught in a pack that just didn't allow her to move up so fast or push the pace, because with 20-meter draft zones, it's really hard to overtake a lot of athletes. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see if the person who's leading the chase pack is really firing on all cylinders and pushing all the women back up towards her, or if it's slowing them down.
Yeah, hopefully there's a better situation with the motorbikes and stuff in Milwaukee. Last year, they did not have Race Ranger in Dallas, and if you look at some of that footage, the women's race was pretty tight in that chase pack. So it was being led by Paula. So for most of it, and I don't think most of the girls could get past Paula, but they were able to stay on her wheel. And I don't think it was 20 meters. If they've got Race Ranger, it's going to spread things out, and people are going to have to, bike their race a little bit more, and I think it will spread things out a little bit more.
Yeah, I think that's what happened in Ibiza, but yeah, Lucy was at the front there, and Taylor, it looks like this time will be. So, who else are you looking on the start list as possible, excellent performance or breakthrough or maybe dark horse?
I think Marjolaine Pierre's interesting to look at. She had a great race in Ibiza in the ITU race, won the world championship there. Looked amazing on the bike, which she's always been a pretty good runner. She is young. I think she's only 23 or 24.
Yeah, I think India Lee is another one that I'm keeping my eye out for.
Yeah.
She did it so well at the Challenge Championships, but only had like one big gear apparently, and pushed through that.
It was a great story, and to hear her tell it was really good. And then you got Jeannie Metzler, who's down there. She's not that far off of finishing second at World Championships in 2021 for 70.3. Great runner, and I think Ellie Salthouse has also made some big improvements on her bike. She's always been one that I have thought that girl needs to get a bike fit, and that girl got a bike fit, and she's got a lot of power. And now she's
training with Paula as well.
Utilizing some better aero setups, and she just seems to be in a really, really good place in her life. Which a happy athlete is a fast athlete. Sometimes, they don't always correlate, but it certainly makes it easier.
And then for me, I think the last name that I would like to bring up, probably Lucy Byram. Fast, fun athlete there. Making a breakthrough this year. Some great performances. I just can't wait to see how well she does.
Another young athlete that hopefully we get to see a little bit from. So it'll be good.
Yeah, heck yeah. We could probably talk about the start list forever, but we'll move on to the men's here. Christian Blumenfeld leading the way, has not won a PTO race yet. He said he'd rather win this than the 70.3 world champs. But he's got some tough competition again.
Well, Christian Blumenfeld is the Paula Finley of men's triathlon. And that's just a little shot at another pundit who refers to Paula as inconsistent. Christian's awesome. It'll be interesting to see where he is out of the swim, because it could be a Kona situation where he's able to stay on the back of a big front group. Or he's going to be holding on like for dear life to Magnus's wheel to try and get back to that front group. So, but we got Christian, we got Magnus Ditlev, Sam Long. Are we having Sam Long?
Oh man, we haven't seen any updates.
Baby
at the time
Long,
of
come
recording.
on, Laura, come on.
He said he could, potentially fly out tomorrow. We're recording this today on Wednesday, and so that looks like tomorrow's his last chance. So, let's see.
Somebody with money in triathlon, get your private jet to Tucson,
Yes.
waiting on the hangar, and just give him a little lift.
It's funny. I had a couple podcast episodes with some pros, and a few of them picked Sam for the win at this one. They were so impressed with his early season races. I think he's one of probably the last uber bikers after a slow swim that with his power could potentially get to the front of the race, and that would have been great to see could be great to see if he makes it.
And I sit there and think, the Sam and Lionel, they're not going to be able to get to the front. And then I think about last year's Dallas race, and he got to the front actually fairly easily.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't that hard for him to get there. And so it'll be interesting to see if the little unit comes in the next day or two, if the big unit's at the race.
Yeah. I think a lot of people have kind of written them off, the bikers or the back of the pack so quickly this year. But you just never know how that swim is going to play out. I remember in those previous races, People just saying, oh, the swim's going to be crazy as well. But then sometimes it does bunch up and come together, and they don't go out so fast. Ben Canute was saying it on the Triathlete Hour podcast that sometimes it's hard for those athletes trying to push the pace in the swim to break the hip of the other athletes who are maybe not quite as fast as they are, and that kind of slows everyone down at the front. And especially if you get somebody at the very front who slows down maybe or wants to let other people go by, and that doesn't quite work out.
Yeah, it'll make a difference for sure.
Yeah,
we got Daniel Backegaard, we got Ben Canute, which I just had this realization that Daniel Backegaard and Ben Canute are almost the same exact athlete. Is Daniel Backegaard the European Ben Canute, or is Ben Canute the American Daniel Backegaard? But we got Clement Mignon is a very interesting name on that list. You've got a Fred Funk, Florian Angert, Aaron Royal, some gentleman named Ferdino. You got a Jason West that's going to be down there, and
I think we got to stop at Ferdino there. I think you can't just glaze over that name.
Oh, sorry about that.
Yeah. He kind of making the headlines again this week, saying it's his second last dance. So yeah, really confirmed his retirement.
It's official. I think he's going to have one more race after Nice, being his Scrail 100.
Yes, in the U.S.
But I think that's going to be with the Hawaiian shirt again.
Yes. But honestly, I think, he's going to be on another level than in Ibiza, especially putting in what seems to be a really tough training camp in Lanzarote with Bradley Weiss, who I'm actually really excited to see Bradley Weiss as well. His swim apparently has come to another level in the pool, to perhaps front pack level, and he did so well in Roth. If Jan's got been training with him, pushing the limits, he did so well in Andorra. He's got that altitude behind him. He could be a force here. And, the guy went through 4 surgeries last year, and people are not really giving him a chance here for the win, in my opinion, from what I've heard. And I think he could win it.
He definitely could. He's going to be at or near the front getting off the bike, and then the question is what runners are around him.
True.
Because I think we've realized he's not going to run with the very, 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 very fastest guys. So if Christian's going to run a 58, he's going to probably run a 59, 15. Yeah. Can he run with Christian? And I'm not going to doubt that he maybe can. He's pulled out some amazing run splits. That 106 in 2018 in South Africa was amazing. It was amazing to watch. Yeah. And in that race, you watched both Ali Brownlee and Javier Gomez throw bombs at him, and he maintained his stuff. So it was intelligent racing as well as super fast. So
yeah.
He's got a lot of experience, and generally experience comes back to help.
That's true. And I feel like in Ibiza, he honestly was missing a little bit of that. I mean, maybe just a little bit of rustiness. You saw him when he jumped on the bike there. He lost a bit of time. And I'm sure coming into transition there at T2, he wasn't just quick and sharp as he used to be. So he probably has picked up a little bit of that back since those races. And I think, like you said, if he's there like with Christian and doesn't let that elastic snap, or with Magnus, it can run alongside them, that always helps just elevate the performance. So yeah. I think we could talk about Jan forever, but another big name we're both probably staring at here on our list is Lionel Sanders, who's made the trip, and he's generating a lot of hype again. He's back with the Race Week episodes, and should be good.
I'm a huge Lionel fan. I think the world of the guy. He's a more intelligent than he's given credit for. I've been I've been told that I'm the biggest Lionel apologist on Slow Twitch. So keep all that in mind. A little bit of a fanboy, but I think he's in a good place right now. I actually spent 10 or 15 minutes with him down in Oregon after the race, and he's just in a really good place. feeling good about where things are going. I don't think he sees himself as in the hunt for the win necessarily, but I think we saw something on his bike that we haven't seen in a while, just an aggression. Yeah. And if he gets good in it, if he has a decent swim and is aggressive on that bike, I'd love to see him just try and rip some legs off and then throw the dice in the on the run, because the guy is just there's not quit there. So
no. I mean, we watched them both live in Edmonton, and, he didn't have the best PTO race there at all. Yep. But his doggedness and fight on the run got him up to like 6th or 7th position, if I remember. And people at these races, especially if it's hot, which it's looking like it'll be at least a little hot there, they blow up, and if he's a fighter, and it seems like the fighters seem to creep up the positions at the end of these races. Yeah,
and I know he doesn't want a 6th or 7th in a field like this. Like he wants to get the most out of himself. Yeah. I don't think he even thinks in terms of positions necessarily. True. He wants to get the most out of himself. And if that means that he's fighting for 4th, but it's an amazing fight for 4th with Jan, for instance, he's going to take that in a heartbeat.
Yeah,
I would love to see him in a position to win, though.
That would be crazy. All right, so we'll go to dark horses and other names to watch for. I'm gonna start this one off. Yeah, I'm gonna throw out my guy Mark Dubrick. His run at Oregon was ridiculous, and his swim is so good. He'll be up there at the front of the race. Can he hold 20 meters though? Not too sure, but I can't wait to watch him run.
He was flying. He was flying. So it'll be good to see what he can do. What he can do out there. I think Braden Curry is another one we got to watch. It's going to be incredible to see. He's a front pack swimmer. He's gotten much better on the bike. He's an aggressive racer. He's fun to watch. 2 other names. I'm gonna dark horse half this field because that's how this is. But we saw some really good performances from Mateus
Margarine.
I can't give other people grief for name pronunciation. But then Jackson Laundry, I think, continues to fly under the radar and stuff like this, and I would not be surprised if he was in the top 5, just sneaking in there. That would be a great result for Jackson. It would be a great result for Jackson.
He's been quiet on social media. He skipped out on Oregon and Maine to focus on this. Yeah, I think you could be right.
He's been training. He did put out a training video a week ago, and he's been training at home with a bunch of his guys at the cottage training program, and I think just in a good place too. So one of those guys that's easy to cheer for. So we both picked 2 RTS guys.
Yeah, we did. Thanks, RTS. We'll take our checks anytime.
Right.
I think top contenders though. Magnus Ditlev, Christian, Ben Canute, Daniel Baccarat, Jason West, Jan. Those are the top names I think on there, and a few more. Honestly, that top 10. I love these races because honestly it is fun seeing who comes even top 15, and every position is kind of fun to watch and see who beats who, honestly.
100%. And it's going to be really, I think there's legitimately 7 or 8 people that could win. It would be surprising for everybody if Ben Canute won, for instance. But then when you look back on it, it wouldn't be that surprising.
No,
yeah, it's going to be fun.
Absolutely. Okay, we're going to dive into our picks, I think. I think it's time. Oh my goodness. Actually, I think we're both winging this at the moment, which is kind of good because, then we don't have to, we can backtrack later on. We can change them,
right?
So they weren't set in stone. But here we go. Live on air. Go for it, Brent. Women's first.
All right, women's first. I am going to actually go with Paula Finley. I think
nice.
I'm going to go with the upset here. I have a feeling that she's going to be able to get away from the Holly Lawrence, Ash Gentle, Kat Matthews group and limit closer to Taylor than she was at 70.3 Worlds. And for some reason, I'm just giving her the benefit of this one. I'm going to have Ash Gentle in second.
Wow.
Getting close. And then I'm going to have Taylor in third.
Oh, big picks. I like
Yeah.
it. I'm going to go the conventional route and go Taylor, Ashley, and Tamara. I just think Taylor, scary on the bike, but having this extra bit of time on the run recently, I think, and plus she's been working with Trek even more and preparing for US time trials. I mean, obviously I'm picking the safe pick here as if I was at the betting house, so that's what I'm going with. Tamara, I think this is the scary one for a lot of these girls with her run speeds.
100, yep.
To think that she, the run speed she was doing, she broke the 70.3 record run split in Oceanside, and that was in April. And the scary fact is she's only going to be quicker, most likely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she's been really, really quiet, which generally means, another good training block. And she talked about how good her training block was going into Oceanside. So maybe she's there.
She didn't get to race Tremblant either. She could be firing.
And then I look at Kat Matthews and I think she could.
Oh, win. Yeah.
So, anyways, 100%. We could do this all day.
We could do this all day. All right. On to the men's. I'll go first here.
Go for it.
I think Magnus is going to do it. I think this is finally his race after Roth, where he's had a big block into this to get quicker. He's also focused on the other races coming up, the shorter races too. I think he's going to make his move finally on the bike. I think he's going to do it. It depends if he can be at that front pack a little bit, but I still think he can make it all the way from the back. Gets ahead, holds on the run, and then, oh man, that was a big call. And then Christian in second again, heartbreak for him, and Ben Canute in third. I would love to see Ben Canute actually further up that, but that's just because I'm a huge fan. And if Sam Long makes it, I'm going for a fourth place. I'm going Sam Long in fourth.
There we go.
Yeah.
So all your Gianfernino love is for naught.
For naught, I know. I don't know.
That
would be amazing.
I'm a lot older than you, so I'll probably throw Fernino in there.
Love it.
Well, if you're gonna go top four, I may throw one in there too. I feel like you might be right with Magnus call. I'm gonna go with Magnus in first as well.
Wow.
I'm going to go with Jan in second because I think he can potentially bike with Magnus.
He did it at Roth last year.
And then maybe that's a run battle, and that's giving Magnus a lot of credit on his run as well. And then I'm going to put Christian in third. I'm going to put Lionel Sanders in fourth.
Woo! Okay. I
just want the big man to get there. So let's see what he can do.
Heck yeah. All right, we got to move off of the PTO US Open because otherwise we'll be here all day. And I think we both have some work to do before.
This is true. This is true.
All right, there are a couple other big races going on, including first ever Challenge London. We also have the 70.3 European Championships with a decent prize money pot of 75 grand, I believe, and then 70.3 Gdynia. Well, let's go with the small one first. What do you think? Challenge Gdynia. Oh, it's actually pretty big when you look at it.
Really big.
Maybe we'll go with Challenge London first. Let's look through that.
Okay.
Sam Laidlaw, obviously making the headlines there. We all thought he wasn't going to be ready to race this weekend with the PTO US Open because of his calf tear, but looks like he's back in Challenge and heading to London. We'll have to see how that calf holds up. It seems a little soon for him to be racing, to be honest.
Well, hopefully he's healthy and able to go because he is definitely somebody that we want to see healthy on start list, and he has not had the follow-up year to his second in Kona last year. So, yeah,
he's definitely when you look at that, he should be the favorite. The other name I'd say is Nicholas Quinet has done well in other races. I know he might be on 2 start lists though, so not quite sure if he'll be there.
Yep.
But Matt Troutman, another fantastic athlete, and
it'll be interesting to see. There's a couple of Aussies, Caleb Noble and Charlie Quinn.
Yep.
Who are interesting, and Michael Rayler's on that, and Michael Rayler actually won 70.3 Worlds in 2009 and 2008, I believe.
Woo!
So
that's why we keep Brant around, hey?
Yeah, the old encyclopedia.
I love it. On the women's side, Fenella Langridge is racing that race. Always fun to watch her.
Yep.
Some Els Visser is another great name on there. Magna Nuout as well. Renee Kiley. Should be a good one. I can't wait to see how Challenge, film this, broadcast this, and, then set up this pro race here in London.
Completely. That women's field, actually, if you want to look at how to set yourself up on a bike, ladies, there's Susie Cheatham, Renee Kiley, Els Visser, and Vanilla Langridge are all incredible bike positions. So,
yes,
that just struck me.
Brent does bike fits as well with his athletes, and so yeah, we'll always be talking about bike fits on here, which is awesome. But yeah, okay, then moving on to Gdynia. We'll start with the women there. Didi Diedrichs leading the way. It seems like she'd be the favorite there. That looks like a beautiful race.
Yes, amazing looking town in Poland. It just, I've heard great things about that race. Didi Diedrichs is there. Justine Matthew, I believe, is a short course athlete from France. That's pretty good too. Small list of Euro based athletes, and unfortunately we don't have too much background on too many of them.
No, that's as we keep doing this. We'll get better and better. But on the men's side, for me, Kasper Stepaniak, big name on there. He's been performing really well recently. He definitely, I'd say, be the favorite. Of course, I'm always going to be a little bit biased to people I've had on the podcast and say Jason Pohl. He is on the move.
And a fellow Canadian. So between you with podcast and me with my nationality, we'll give us some Canadian love.
Jason is going to be famous from us over time. But actually a big start list there in Gdynia for the men.
Yep.
But I think we should keep moving on. And on to the 17.3 European Open European Championship. Love that. The men's list is huge. All fighting for the bigger prize money at an Ironman race. Peter Hemrich and Jan Stratman, Antonio Lopez. In my opinion, Lopez is the favorite for that race, coming off of a ridiculous season so far. He just won 70.3 Swansea, ahead of some good athletes there. And I was surprised he didn't get actually a wild card slot for the Singapore Open.
Yep, the great racer there. Mike Phillips is also pretty incredible. Maurice Clavel and Jesper Svensson are both bike monsters. I believe the Talon course is pretty flat.
Yeah,
flat and fast. So it'll be interesting. They'll be riding right around 2 hours, I'm sure.
I think this one is broadcast as well. If I'm correct, I'd have to double check that. But it seems like it should be for a European championship, but not quite sure.
Felipe Acevedo.
Felipe is always good, but Jan Stratman, I think, another big name who's an all-rounder, who's just waiting to break through. He always gets a couple injuries.
Yep.
That'll be a great race. On the women's, Laura Phillip, Emma Palmer-Brown, that'll be a great showdown. But also Lisa Norden. She had a great race in Roth and always is a powerhouse on the bike and a fantastic swimmer. So we'll see her at the front of the race. Can she get a gap to hold off those two swift runners in Laura and Emma?
Yep. And a couple others. Lucy Buckingham is a great racer. It's funny to see her down that list a little bit. Daniela Bleimel is an axe on the bike, so she'll be up there. And Amelia Watkinson and Imogen Simmons are great racers as well. So it's the women's field is very, very solid, considering you've got the PTO U.S. Open going on at the same time. Yeah,
looking at that, as you said, we are spoiled. We are that is going to be a great race to watch and track, and thankfully, I believe it's on Sunday, so we will get to watch that.
Quite the weekend,
man. All right. Winners for that race, I guess we got to call the European Championship, hey? I'm going on the men's side with Lopez, like I said. And on the women's side, I'm going Emma Palmer-Brown.
There you go. Let's give Mike Phillips a little love.
Oh, yes. He's got that Singapore slot, too.
Yeah. I'm going to go with Mike Phillips.
Okay, you can't talk about Mike Phillips without talking about his bike position. He looks like a Tour de France rider.
Yeah, he's looking good too. And do you go with the swimsuit or do you go with Laura Phillip? in the women's race. I'm going to go with Laura Phillip.
All right.
And I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Because Emma Pallant is amazing. So Emma Pallant Brown is just an unbelievable athlete, and she's definitely a fighter. And I like both athletes. So let's go with the tie.
A tie.
I'm just kidding. Laura Phillip.
The first ever exact tie.
The first ever exact tie. Tie.
That's awesome. All right. We always do a segment on this show as well. And since we probably talked for way longer than we think we have already, we're just going to quickly touch on our performance of the year so far. Because we're getting into championship season now. The rest of the season will quickly be forgotten about. And it's just the way triathlon memory goes. It seems, even mine, because it's hard to keep up with everything going on. Performance of the year, it's both long course or short course for both of us. Just one performance on the men's and the women's. Kick it off, Brent, with your men's, and then I'll do men's as well.
I got to go with Trevor Foley in Maine. I'm just kidding. I love you, Trevor. I'm gonna have to go with Max Newman for the men.
Okay.
That was out of nowhere in terms of, I don't think any one of us gave him much chance in the shorter course race, and kind of really established where he's at. So the fact he hasn't been on the start list since is a little scary, but I'm gonna have to go with him. And
yep.
Oh,
Well, you think on the women's?
yeah.
We're doing this kind of on the fly as well. I'm going to go with Magnus at Roth. I think that's a safe pick since fastest ever, blah, blah, blah. But I think, for me, it was like he was so far ahead. It was kind of scary, you know. Sam Laidlaw, I guess, was there on the run. That may be the only negative. Like, you know, Sam might have, if he held on the run, you know, made that performance a little less impressive. But still, I mean, Patrick, you know, and Ben Canute said they were pushing 70.3 watts on the bike. Yeah. Couldn't even get close. And then, you know, Patrick ran a 2:30. That didn't even dent into Magnus's time, you know,
yeah.
And Patrick made front pack. So that one was special. I think we all know that. And, yeah, we got to remember that one for a long time.
I will say you are not wrong. That was an amazing performance. And then I think you have to go with Daniela.
Yeah.
With an honorable mention to Annie Haug in the Euro Open. But when Daniela gets it right, there's nothing different. And I know Daniela has been doing a lot of work on her bike position, and over the years, her coach has been more of a less aero, more comfort to put out more power type athlete. But Daniela's got, you know, the companies that are behind her are, you know, former Formula One people and stuff like that. And when you see her come out and do what she did on the bike, and then get back to running the way she can run off the bike, off of a very, very, very hard bike, it's just impressive to watch. It's clinical. It's just amazing. So,
yeah, I totally agree. I mean, that was something else. And yeah, I'm so excited to see her potentially against Taylor Knibb. If they both make it on the 70.3 Worlds, like if they're biking together, that would be a dream to watch.
That would be amazing.
And but that for me leads on to Taylor Knibb's performance at Boulder. I think was scary good. Yeah, I think she's phenomenal right now, honestly. And hopefully she doesn't go all the way over to cycling. But because we'd love to. I know she doesn't plan to, but you never know. She's could get an Olympic gold there.
Yeah. When you hear her talk, she wants to do an Ironman. Like, she wants to do the long course stuff, but just kind of stuck in.
She's too talented. She could do it all. Hey?
I know. she's the triple threat
for sure. All right. Well, I think that's pretty much it for this episode. Brent and I, just to keep it a little more personal, we're both racing this weekend as well. Like I said, I'm at the USAT Nationals. Not hoping for much myself because training's been a little dodgy. I got a bit of an Achilles injury at the beginning of the year, which kind of just, I never let fully heal or do the right exercises to get it going again. But I'm back. I'm panic training, as Brent has always likes to call it with his athletes. And yeah, I'll give it my all, that's for sure. And then be straight to the women's race afterwards on Saturday.
Yes, Dan, to be fair, I panic train myself. I don't panic train my athletes.
Fair.
Yeah, I jumped in a race on Saturday, a little Olympic in town, and am trying to panic train my way to get fit before Santa Cruz in September. So it's always fun to put on a bib and go see where you're at. Travis and I got a good swim in yesterday and a little run hill rep, but it was so secret that we didn't videotape it. So
it was something. Yeah, it's this new protocol we're following.
Yes, it was something to behold, and records were broken. So no, we both love to just go out on the course, just see what we have on the day and have fun with it. So
yeah,
that's what we'll do again this weekend. And nobody cares about our results except us. So we'll
make sure we share them with you.
We'll make sure we share them with you, and you guys will know all the gory details about how our T1s were terrible because we couldn't get out of our wetsuits.
Yes. Well, guys, as always, thank you so much for listening. I can't believe there's quite a few followers listening now.
It's been really fun to get some feedback, so we love to hear it, and keep it coming.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys, and we'll see you after the PTO. Of course, follow me on the Daily Try. You'll see lots of updates there as I'll be at the race, so check out the YouTube channel. And honestly, I think this one went pretty well, Brent.
We're not bad for number 2. Let's go.
Or number 3, technically. We didn't air the first one, but we won't tell anybody that.
That's true.
All right.